Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Total War, to Total War Warhammer 3! What? Too much? Sorry, it's just hard not to get pumped saying and hearing that, right? And, this is a big one, guys. This is a big, and when I say big, I mean huge patch. This is 2.0. This is the patch that many have been waiting for. This is the big one, guys. There is a DLC that came out that has added some new lords, and I will get to that in a bit. But first, I have to talk about this, because this is what everyone has been waiting for. This is what it's been building up to for a long time. Ever since the first Total War Warhammer game, the devs have been very clear to players that their intended plan was 3 games covering the Warhammer universe, and it was all going to build up and, how do I say this, lead into something amazing, which was the amazing Ultimate Campaign map featuring every faction and all 3 maps from all 3 games. In Warhammer 2, it was known as Immortal Empires, combining both games. This is the one that combines all 3 games. Every faction, as long as you have every DLC, and that's the catch, obviously you have to have, because Sega loves to kind of nickel and dime us with the DLC in this franchise. You have to be able to have those. But it's here, and I can be able to actually go ahead and show it to you guys. And you can see they also made a number of changes as well. Look at the menu screen just on its own. You can clearly see a different look here. Also, this looks different as well. So, here's what I'm talking about. So, you go to Campaign. So, you can still choose the Prologue Tutorial campaign here, the Lost God, which I think is still one of the better tutorial story campaigns I've seen. There, of course, is the default Realm of Chaos, and I will get to that later. But then here it is, Immortal Empires. Now, you'll notice up here it says Beta. Now, immediately it shows here, because the devs are trying to be very clear about this. Immortal Empires is a vast sandbox campaign encompassing the entire Warhammer world, with open-ended objectives that provide the ultimate Total War Warhammer experience. The beta label means we still have work to do, so it's not the finished article. There's plenty to enjoy, with empires to raise, battles to fight, alliances to forge, and enemies to conquer. But we also have a number of bugs to fix, balance passes to do, and content systems to improve. So yeah, they're being very clear and upfront that this is absolutely not the finished product here. So keep that in mind. Now, of course, you'll see immediately a familiar face here. Emperor Karl Franz of the Reichland. Definitely a familiar face from the first game, right? So, this is the map. You can tell this is supposed to be all 3 maps from the campaigns of the main games. Over here you've got Warhammer 2, clearly with the vortex there. Here you can see this is the map from the first game with the area with the Norska are, the Empire here, the Dwarves in Greenskin Southlands, Badlands area over here. And then over here you've got the map from the third Warhammer game, this one here. All combined into one gigantic map here. And there's over 250 factions on this map. It's huge. So, when you select change race, look at this. These are all the categories, and this is not even the individual lords. If you select a faction, like, say, the Skaven, you, of course, can then be able to choose any of the available lords that fall under this category. Including, one of my faves, Lord Skrolk, from Pestilence. So, yeah. Also, you'll notice something here. Warriors of Chaos. You'll notice some new faces here. And at first I was like, who are these guys? And then I realized this is the brand new DLC that they added along with this patch. And also, yes, you can play as Bellicor. He is now his own Lord selection that you can select from this game mode here. Now, I should note, however, and I'm going to get to that in a moment, that's part of the point of this video, is that he's only selectable here in the Immortal Empires campaign. You can't select him in the Realms of Chaos campaign, which is interesting. But yeah, this is it, guys. This is what we've all been waiting for and building towards. This big, gigantic campaign map here with all these factions from all 3 games. The Beastmen with Kazrak and Torox that was added later on. Yep. So then, if you go to Realms of Chaos, you'll see it's also set up a little differently here. In fact, I want to go ahead and show you something real quick here as well. Now, you'll see, like, it's basically here. Now, let me show you something else they added in the Immortal Empires that I found interesting. When you're going to create your campaign, you go to Settings. You'll notice all these other extra settings here. Look at this. You can either enable or disable sea lane markers, endgame scenarios. You can change the difficulty of the endgame. You can change the timer of endgame on its way. You can change when it triggers, the range, and you can decide what you want the endgame scenarios to possibly be in your Immortal Empires campaign. Like trigger on long victory, the Black Pyramid, a grudge too far, the biggest wah, the Wild Hunt, and Vampiric Ascension. So those are really cool. And of course you can change your settings as well for difficulty and such. So, but I love that this is a thing here because it at times, especially in the first Warhammer game, it felt like the end game in the campaign was a little too overpowered, a little too strong. I really had to work in terms of having multiple massive armies to even stand a chance at actually winning that end game in the first Warhammer game. But I love that this is a thing that you can actually go ahead and change and affect if you want. I think this is really cool that they added all these options to let you be able to customize it how you want. Now, Realm of Chaos. Let's now also go to... So this is something I do want to touch up on and kind of find odd, because you'll notice Warriors of Chaos is now a separate category here, because that's where these DLC guys are. Oh, wait. Now, I found this odd because... To me, I was like, wait a minute, like, shouldn't they be in the category of the Chaos God that they serve? But, they're not, which I found odd, because under here, you'll find that there's one of each for each of the 4 Chaos Gods. Azazel for Slaanesh, Festus for Nurgle, Valkia for Khorne, and Leech for Sinch. Forgive me if, again, I keep mispronouncing that. I never remember how to properly pronounce it. But I was like, why aren't they part of those categories? Like, why isn't Valkia under the Khorne category? But I guess it's because they have a different mechanic for this group. Because you'll see here, they have Dark Fortresses, which is established bases of power to vassalize and recruit followers of Chaos. Gifts of Chaos, which you purchase god-aligned gifts to strengthen your faction in various ways. And Warbands. Gather warriors and upgrade them into more powerful units. So it seems to be like, you remember how the Warriors of Chaos in the first one had the Horde mechanic? So it looks like Warriors of Chaos in this game is going to have the Warband mechanic, and this emphasis on gifts of chaos from the different Chaos gods. Chaos Warriors are mortals who have left their natural way of life and chosen to dedicate themselves to a Chaos God in order to gain their favor, with the ultimate goal of demonhood and eternal life. They are the chosen servants of Chaos who live for nothing more than spreading terror and death to those weaker than themselves, gathering about them northern tribes of vicious marauders, desperate to despoil the lands of milk and honey to the south. And so, from the icy nords of Norska and the blasted chaos wastes beyond, the innumerable armies of chaos surge southward, either raiding across the icy seas in longships, or marching inland to wreak crimson destruction upon the cities and strongholds of the old world. Behold, so, who are each of these 4 different lords here, you may be wondering? Well, this guy here, you can kind of look. He kind of looks like he definitely follows Slaanesh, doesn't he? He's got the one pincer on his, as for his left arm. He's got wings, and he's got, it looks like a pet double-headed snake. Very Slaanesh, isn't it? Exactly when Azazel abandoned humanity and pledged his mortal soul to Slaanesh, none can say. But in the distant past, he was the chief of the Geryon tribe, one of the 12 great peoples of Sigmar. After betraying his liege lord, he fled to the northern wastes, where he rose quickly in the pleasure god's favor for his treachery and acts of debauchery. After smashing a 10,000-strong host of Khorne and slaying its mighty champion in equal combat, Azazel attracted his master's gaze once more and was elevated to a state of demonhood. Under his command, the Dark Prince's armies have enjoyed one blissful triumph after another. So this is his starting position way up here. He has very high diplomatic relations, which makes a lot of sense. The Slaanesh, of course, he would, like, seduce his allies. Vassals immune to psychology, that's the faction effects. His lord effects, domineering aura, seduce units minus 20% for these units, and the budget is plus 25%. And then for Nurgle, we have Festus, the Leech Lord. Now, I've heard someone who's like an expert on Warhammer. This was a character he really wanted to see added to this game, so I'm sure he's happy about this. And his lore is kind of interesting. Stalking the northern forests in moth-eaten robes, clinking with vials of unimaginable concoctions is the muttering, shuffling figure of Dr. Festus. Once a prolific curer of plagues in Nordland, he made a desperate pact with Nurgle after encountering a strain of gnashing fever he could not stem. Thus the plague god filled his brilliant mind with every detail of every ailment known to the mortal world, washing away his compassion and replacing it with an intimate knowledge of disease and a desire to experiment. Though his curative powers are greater than ever before, woe betide the fool who crosses the doctor, who delights in force-feeding his latest creations to unfortunate victims. So yeah, he's way over here. So yeah, this guy had every detail about every disease possible crammed into his brain so he could know how to cure every single possible disease. But obviously that messed him up big time, as you can see here. So yeah, his vassals gain poison attacks and spread Nurgle corruption. He can brew plagues, of course. Souls is a mechanic specifically for Warriors of Chaos. And of course, plague durations are increased for an extra 3 turns. And more battle healing cap as well. Valkia the Bloody. Valkia the Bloody rose to infamy as the merciless warrior queen of a great northern tribe who cut down anyone who dared question her reign. By the time of her death, she had defeated countless minions of Khorne's brother gods, reaching the end of her mortal existence, while on a journey of slaughter into the realm of chaos to pay tribute to her battle-hungry patron personally. The blood god raged at Valkia's passing, his fury so thunderous it awoke her from death, and taking her into his claws, he reforged the queen into a vision of destructive power. And she starts right over here in the middle. Her faction is known as the Legion of the Gore Queen. So she has access to bloodletting, of course. She has extra campaign movement range, just like Scarbrand does. Along with not just after winning a battle, but also if an enemy retreats from battle. 35% if an enemy retreats. That's amazing. And she has a passive ability, which is extra weapon damage, armor-piercing damage, and leadership. And her vassals gain frenzy and spread Khorne corruption. And last but certainly not least, the village. You, the Curseling. From the time of his birth, the weakling Village was universally despised for his ugliness and frailty, while his twin, Thoman, became an... I hope I'm pronouncing these names correctly. If I'm not, forgive me. I'm still learning Warhammer. Became an athletic warrior. After praying fervently to Leech to reverse their fates, the runt awoke to find that his body and that of his sibling had melded together, with Thoman reduced to a drooling automaton, enthralled to Village's command. With his magical abilities enhanced 100-fold and a hulking body, the Twisted Twin wreaked his vengeance upon those who had looked down upon him, while enslaving the minds of his tribe's warriors so that they would live and die according to his whims. So his vassals gain increased barrier hit points and spread siege corruption, has access to Changing of the Ways and forces revive benefits from having high winds of magic, converts a portion of his own battle casualties into souls, has access to the siege teleport stance. His lord effects, steal plus 15% of the experience earned by other lords. His passive ability, the Twisted Twin, spell mastery plus 20% up to 20%, melee defense and melee attack. And teleport stance usage cost is reduced minus 25% winds of magic cost. So, from what I've seen, they mainly have the same intro except for one notable difference when it takes a moment to actually point out which of these four lords that you are playing.
It matters not.
Now, I haven't gotten the chance to really mess with all four of these. I've only checked out Festus and Valkia mainly. I haven't gotten a chance to check out either of these two yet. Mainly because I was just immediately drawn to either of these two. One, because I kind of found the lore of this character to be rather interesting. And this one, gameplay-wise, because, well, I really enjoyed playing a Scarbrand. So I was like, okay, I like the Khorne lords. So, yeah, Valkia just seems like she's, ready to fight. So, okay. So, let's go ahead and show you the intro of what it's like to play one of the Warriors of Chaos lords, specifically Valkia the Bloody. The annals of history recall many of Valkia the Bloody's appearances in the world. Her arrival always met with fear, but also reverence from the faithful of the Blood God, who worship her as a goddess. And now the consort of Khorne comes to blight the mortal plane once again. This time, her coming foretold many years in advance by tribal shamans, with the iconic and primitive etchings of the winged warrior queen long adorning the walls of hermit grottos across the north, as the world teeters on the precipice of epochal events. Khorne's bloodlust crescendos once more, his violent whims as ever to be served unquestioningly by the inimitable Gore Queen. I like this loading screen also, where you see all four of them ready to fight each other.
Deep in the Chaos Wastes, a deadly battleground harbors dark promises. For its victor, great favor from their sadistic god. For the slain, damnation. In ancient Zambijin, an accursed altar thrums with immense power. By Ursen's cataclysmic death cry, its eternal seal is weakened. Countless souls of fallen warriors, now laid bare. A ruinous harvest craved by the dark gods. Carnage beckons for the one forged by the god of war himself. Valkia the Bloody, the Gore Queen.
All who oppose the Bloodfather shall die!
The souls shall be claimed, and with them, apocalypse is certain. But what horrors await the world? May the greatest champion prevail!
faithless tribes of the north. Do they know who they face? There was a time when I led their best into battle. A dark fortress raised upon their hovels will remind them who their true queen is, and the strength they could wield if they lay themselves at Khorne's feet. The Bloodfather thirsts for skulls, but souls will provide my passage to Zanbai-Jin. The stiff-necked dwarves will surely put up a good fight before surrendering what I seek. Sooner or later, all of Norska shall be consumed in glorious war. But the greater battle lies to the south. The men of Kislev, so renowned for their metal, will be worthy adversaries. Their souls shall be Khorne's, but some will fight on in his realm. No more delays. The glory of Zanbai-Jin shall be mine. Sweet battle beckons.
Zanbai-Jin's final champion shall claim the altar of battle and herald one Chaos God's supremacy over the world. First, their master's gaze must be turned.
To reveal the way to the final battle at Zanbai-Jin, a network of Chaos Rifts must first be created. Chaos Rifts open as you collect enough souls to grant you the required sigils. So, souls. Warriors of Chaos factions will collect souls of mortals who they defeat. In turn, they can sacrifice them to their gods in return for powerful gifts of chaos, or send characters through the paths of glory. Warbands. Warriors of Chaos muster their armies instantly from the local area, while their warbands allow them to transform recruits into more powerful forms or devote them to specific chaos gods to align them with their lord's dark authority. And of course, because she is a Khorne follower, she gets bloodletting. Obviously, this is a little different based on who you're playing. So, the intro there is, of course, it's always going to talk about the Zanbai-Jin thing, but then it's going to talk about the Chaos Lord that you decide to play as. And of course, let's go ahead and do a turn here so I can go ahead and show you guys what this particular mechanic over here is called the Gifts of Chaos, since it is kind of important. This is the Warband upgrade screen. There's the regular Chaos, and then there's the one specifically for Khorne, which she has because, of course, she's a Khorne follower. So we've got the Undivided, Chaos Undivided Authority, which you can see here as it progresses. You get upgrades such as recruitment cost, casualty replenishment, upkeep, and Warband upgrade cost. And then for Khorne Authority, casualty replenishment for Khorne units, upkeep, recruitment cost, Warband cost. So that's basically how that kind of works. The only thing is that it just seems like, am I just not able to select these yet? Which I guess I'm not. So, because then it's like, select a unit. I'm like, trying to select a unit. I'm like, I'm trying to select a unit. It won't let me. But I guess that's not how that works yet. The Eye of the Gods. The higher the number of active gifts of chaos you have, the more the Eye of the Gods is drawn to your faction. Once the meter is full, a dilemma will offer you powerful rewards. So you can see there, the number of souls you have, which is going to be important later, of course. Any action that grants souls, such as fighting battles and raising settlements, will allow you to get closer to revealing the hidden city of Zanbai-Jin. The following effects will automatically apply once you obtain 10,000 paths to Zanbai-Jin. Create a Chaos Rift in the home province to begin a Chaos Rift network. Rift Sigils +2 will allow for the creation of a Chaos Rift network.
Snow will never be a barrier to war.
So yeah, that's those are some of the mechanics. Let's go ahead and do a fight real quick here, so we can get to the next turn. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and take a look at Valkia in action, shall we? I'm actually debating on showing you guys the other three Chaos Lords here in this DLC. By the way, if you're going to get this DLC, I would recommend going ahead and getting it now, because it's actually on sale as a promotion for this patch. And it's going to be on sale, I think, for another week, So then it'll go back to full price. So if you're going to grab it, I would say grab it right now before it goes back to full price. But then again, you could always put it on your wish list and wait until you get that email notification saying, hey, this item in your wish list is on sale. How many of you like keep an eye out for those emails like, oh, it's on sale, I better grab it. So, she of course has Khorne forces in her army. And then here is Valkia. She has wings, so of course she's taking advantage of them by flying. So she is categorized as a flying monster.
What?
Unfortunately, it looks like it won't actually let me look at her stats, I guess? I mean, it looks like I can go ahead and do this here. So you can see she has armored and shielded, armor piercing, anti-large, and flying. That's awesome that she's got anti-large there as well. Don't be fooled by the stats. I'm actually... a number of the mods I'm using were already updated for this patch. One of them is a cheating mod, which increases stats. So... don't, don't take the stats here to heart, okay? Like, keep in mind that those stats are being modded, okay? So just want to keep that in mind, alright? So this is her starting force. She, you can put this melee specialist exalted hero into her army. She also has Chaos Warriors of Khorne with dual weapons, regular Chaos of Warriors, Marauders, Skull Crushers, and Marauder Horsemen. So be sure to keep that in mind.
Warband, assemble!
Chaos Warriors.
Fighters one!
So, of course, when you're playing as Chaos and Khorne, there's only one thing to do, and that's, of course, is charge!
The Horde surges. Lashing for slaughter. Murder for Khorne.
Yes!
Attack the mortals! Chaos Warriors of Khorne. Lords of War. Chaos Marauders! The gods demand it! Marauder Horseman!
Valkia the Bloody!
Make way! Spread! Spread! God's call!
Valkia the Bloody!
Stand firm!
To the slaughter!
Marauder Horseman! The dark gods command me!
Certain death! Seeking the fight!
Slay the unbeliever! Now is our time!
Shield Maiden!
Yeah, I probably didn't do that very well. I forgot that she is a lot more speed, so she charges in faster.
Kill!
You'll also notice that they've also implemented the feature, even though it was a DLC, but a feature for blood and gore in this game. I agree with those who say that having to pay for something like that is not okay. That's not okay.
Chaos Warriors! Followers of chaos! Glorious bloodshed! Skull Crushers!
This was not meant to be!
Blood for the Blood God!
This was not meant to be!
Alright, so, yep. They're routing.
God that fears us! They will succumb!
God's watch!
Valkia the Bloody!
Victory!
The God's watch! Do not disgrace us!
So then we'll also get a chance to look at her skill screen. See what she can be able to acquire as you go through a campaign playing as her. So as you can imagine, because they fall into the the Warriors of Chaos category, that means the other Warriors of Chaos Lords from the previous game, Archaon, those guys, they are going to be using these same campaign mechanics in Immortal Empires. So when you win a battle, you can either kill your captives to get unit experience for your army, enslave to get replenishment, or you can sacrifice them to get both currency as well as souls. So you also get something else in the process, an item here.
Chains are all the weak deserve! Valkia the Bloody!
Look at that shield. Look at that. She's got some sweet armor, though. I love that armor. That armor looks awesome. It's also a really cool-looking spear. Look at that thing. She has a few quests for the Scarlet Armor, the Daemon Shield, and the Spear Slopnir. So yeah, those three things I just pointed out, the armor, shield, and spear, she has quests for each of those, which, as you can see, provide some other really nice stuff. Unit is invulnerable to damage. And that's for 13 seconds. Wow, that's strong. For 13 seconds, she doesn't take damage. That's incredible. Uh-huh. Small forward-moving area of effect. Huh. Very nice. Very cool. So, again, some of these are because of mods, like this one right here. That's specifically a mod, a feature there. So it looks like she doesn't have a mount, but then again, she has wings. She can fly around, so makes sense that she doesn't necessarily need a mount. So nothing else super crazy or awesome looking here. She does have Hearts of Iron, Voice of the Dark Gods. You can see some of these stats. Again, some of these will be actually affected because of mods I have, but she's got Resilience. She causes fear by default. Can she be able to get the one that causes terror? Vigor loss reduction minus 50%. Wow. It looks like she doesn't have one that causes... Oh, no, hold on. Not route, immune to terror, takes damage when leadership is low. Huh. I think it's the first time I've ever seen that attribute. So yeah, it looks like she doesn't have a skill that lets her cause terror. So she, of course, can still cause fear, because of course she does, but doesn't cause terror, it looks like. Courage, Mark of Corn. Wounds, Frenzy, Gaze of Corn. Corn Authority, Slanesh Authority, yep. Okay. So I have two skill points here because, again, that's a mod.
My prayers are answered.
I love the mod that's like, hey, you can be able to get 2 points every time you level as opposed to just 1.
unrelenting murder!
So when you take a settlement as this faction, you can have either raise, sack, or occupy and vassalize.
We are bound in blood! Consort of Corn!
So as you can see here, we've got a Chaos Keep, Chaos Fort, Dark Redoubt, and then you can get a Dark Fortress. Remember, this is like one of the actual advertised features of the Chaos of Warriors. Allegiance points gained for alliances and vassalages with Norska, plus 20%. All these extra things here. An Exalted Dark Fortress. Alright, so now, here we are. Gifts of Chaos. So this is what it looks like here. You can see that's corn. Actually, no, wait. Oh yeah, all 4 of these are corn. So it looks a little different, I think, if you play as Bellicor in Immortal Empires, because it's literally all 4 of them. So there are more slots here because you can literally see it for all 4 of the Chaos Gods here. So this is the different gifts. You can select between ones for your Chaos Undivided or specifically for Gifts of Corn, such as these Chaos Furies will be instantly gifted, added to your gifted units pool, and every 3 turns afterwards. More defensive stuff, casualty replenishment, and melee attack for units, and more unit experience, and you can just keep going down as you progress. So it has an initial cost, like, I think 500 souls, and then there's an upkeep for it, like, every turn. Like, in this case, it would be, if I was to put this here, then it would have an upkeep of 50 souls. So that is important to note. Now, under Gifts of Corn, we've got specifically, of course, corn-related things here, including income from post-battle loot and raising settlements. All these different things here. So, if you were to select, this lets you select a gift for this slot, which would specifically be for corn. So I could be able to go here, and you'll see here, add to slot. To activate, 500, and upkeep is 50. So it'll then show the current effects there. So then you go here, it'll show Chaos Undivided. And if I want these, I go ahead and hit this, and there we go. This is the technology tree. Searing Branding Iron right from the get-go, and then we've got Sacrificial Altar for, these are 1 turn because, again, that's another mod I have that reduces the turns to get research upgrades. So this is not fully representative of what you're actually going to get if you are playing the unmodded version of this, because you'll see my research rate is 1100%. So, but yeah, that's basically what it looks like here. Unlock Warband upgrades for specific units. Increase the amount of active gifts of chaos. Extra authority. Things like that. So that's basically, yeah, and of course you also can be able to see that they have very similar units that you would have seen in other Words of Chaos groups, such as if you were playing as Archaon, you've got of course, the garrison here with the units. Some of these shrines. Of course, you've got the Chaos Giant, and of course the Feral Manticore. Chaos Knights. Units I'm sure you guys would be familiar with if you have played the Chaos, Warriors of Chaos faction before. Chaos Trolls, Spawn of Corn. Yep. Growth and Replenishment Favor. Control and Corn Corruption, yep. So, yeah, it's going to be very similar for each of the Chaos God Lords here that you can select, with, of course, specific differences regarding the Chaos God that they specifically follow. So that's mainly how it's going to be here for when you play this faction, for both Realms of Chaos campaign as well as the Immortal Empires campaign. And as you can imagine, remember, that's in beta, not necessarily just because they're still working on it, but as you can imagine, there are probably also still some bugs here and there. So expect some patches to come out for this over the coming weeks as feedback from the community, because the community is going to be playing and testing this a lot now that this is finally out, to try and find as many issues and problems with it and try to give as much feedback as they can so that the developers can try to make this the best possible thing that it could possibly be. And I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun doing the Immortal Empires campaign on certain factions and such. It's also going to be funny seeing how different they play in that campaign compared to how they used to play in the previous campaigns. So, yeah. And that's basically, I think, all I have to really say about it. I suppose I could show what the other ones are, but like I said, it's very minor differences. In terms of like the intro, which of course has been one of the main things I've been showing in this playlist of Warhammer 3. So yeah, and I think that's and that, in the words of Forrest Gump, and that's all I have to say about that. And I will see you guys next time.